Paris imam who denounced terrorism, now in hiding in Paris, France. So for those who don't know, we use the word terrorism for a certain boom boom because we have to obey the YouTube gods and the algorithm. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look on the screen and there's the word. So a moderate imam has been driven into hiding after receiving a deluge of death threats due to advocating religious tolerance and denouncing Islamist terrorism in France. Despite being placed under police protection and accompanied by six armed police officers at all times, Hassen Chalghoumi says he has put his house up for sale and plans to move his family to a Gulf state. He says that he has never spent more than 2 nights in the same place due to the likelihood of an attack. French newspapers reported that concern for Mr. Chalghoumi's safety accelerated after a Belgian Islamist promised to pay 150,000 euros to anyone who K'd him. Imam Chalghoumi has been a controversial figure in France for some time. The most recent barrage of threats began after his comments calling the beheaded civics teacher Samuel Paty a martyr for free speech. So I wanted to highlight this story this week because we've been following Mr. Chalghoumi. We've been following what's been going on with him, particularly when he first made his statement that got a lot of international attention, where he was condemning basically the support for the killing of Samuel Paty. He notably called him a martyr for free speech, or a martyr for free expression, who was doing his job of educating French children about the values of the Republic. And he even went so far as to tell other imams to pray for Samuel Paty in their Juma prayers, and highlighted and emphasized that imams and French Muslim parents should not, I'm paraphrasing, foster a hatred of the Republic in their children. He's known for being a moderate imam, or a bit of a reformist imam. He said that Islamism should be banned in France, and this recent incident with Samuel Paty and his way of condemning this terrorist act was not the first time that he's caught a lot of heat. It's been ongoing for a couple of years, but now it has reached the point where he now has to live in hiding for denouncing this violence.
I was just going to mention, yeah. So this has escalated to the point where his family has had to move to an unknown Gulf state, and he is eventually says he's going to go. And he doesn't want to. And apparently, the family is even, living under an assumed name, supposedly, because it's this message, encrypted message by extremism calling for his K'ing is out on Telegram all over the world, so it's everywhere. So they have to live under assumed names. But this guy has had this history of not just being reformist minded or progressive or liberal minded, but he's also very in terms of France, he wants to reach across to different faiths, to different groups. He lives in this area of France that has this history of persecution, in particular during the bad times that in World War II with the N people. Persecuted a lot of.
You need to explain to people because some people don't know we're using coded language.
We have to use coded language because of the YouTube. So the Axis powers,
right,
during World War II, persecuted 63,000 Jews were in an internment camp in this particular city in Drancy. So he met with these leaders. He visited the camp, and he also went, and I think he went to the actual site where the camp had been, all kinds of things. When that happened, he went to the memorial and he kind of prayed. His house got vandalized. He came out against, he back banning the full cover, the burqa. He held talks with rabbis and other members of the Jewish community because of all the attacks on the Jewish community in France. His houses get vandalized. He's attacked. He's insulted on social media. I mean, in 2015, he was placed under police protection. So it just keeps escalating and escalating. And now at this point, they're threatening his life. So much so that he has to leave the country. And I think it's just really shameful. And it goes back to the discussion we had at the beginning of the news about calling this out and disavowing it. But instead, we're seeing this mass amount of people who are happy to call for this man's execution, and he's forced to leave this country. He has to live in hiding. It's shameful. It's reprehensible. And I really feel for him and his family.
They put a bounty on his head.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me of when we were first talking about his comments of calling Samuel Paty a martyr for free speech. Armin, you can give me what you originally said, but your comment was basically like people like him are more valuable than like 1,000 atheists or secularist activists, because he's speaking out against these types of pressure.
Yeah, I basically said I prefer a Muslim that is supporting secularism, free speech, democracy, due process. A Muslim, even though I disagree with them on Islam, and even though if they think that is their views is compatible with Islam, it's not. Even if they think that, and I think they're wrong about that, I take a Muslim that is defend those values. I consider that person to be on my side more than any atheist that goes and says like, oh, just kill them all, or like I said the word I shouldn't say, but like, oh, just like, oh, don't let these people, like all of them are bad, or like generalizes or thinks that Muslims shouldn't have a right to speak, or every single mosque should be closed. An atheist that doesn't believe in Enlightenment values and is actually actively fighting against them, I consider that atheist more of an ideological enemy of mine than a Muslim that is on the side of free speech and secularism. They are on my side. That Muslim is more on my side. Yeah.
I remember when, I'm sorry, but I was going to say, I remember when Armin was mentioning this, we were also talking about what a hero he was, because I remember I said on the back of that it's also the fact that this courage of this man is so amazing and so much to be admired, because based on all this history of what happened to him, he knew this was going to happen and he did it anyways, which means he has the courage of his convictions, which means that he is a mensch. He's a true person of conviction and of ethics, because he knew this was going to happen and he did it anyways. And that's someone who has a lot of courage and deserves a lot of respect, in my opinion.
Right. We don't have to agree with people to celebrate them as heroes. We could still be like, yeah, you believe in Islam and that's moronic, but you're a hero regardless.
And subscribe! Everyone! Every single one of you is watching! Subscribe! Do it now! Do it! Do it now!